The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, Ted, down to you. Yeah, well, 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. That's what not too shabby. In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
Hello all and welcome into WHF Round 4 Tier 1. Apologies for the late start of the stream. Restream just has completely given up, so we've unfortunately had to start very late. But we're here at the end of the day, so we will take that. Because unfortunately Restream just it doesn't work anymore. I don't even know where I put that ping to at this point. But hopefully now everyone should be getting in. I don't even know which server that is. That's probably the wrong one. It was. But we have Nasev on a flyer here. Finally, we can actually talk about some of the qualifying performances. Nasev currently leads the way with an 11.5, 3/10 clear of Cookie, who leads the championship. Nasev in that pink liveried V-Carb. And Nasev on the way in, possibly not improving on his lap. Gordon not on improvement. Hemi Dimes flying through the middle sector in his Monza liveried Ferrari. As we've got 2 Cookie bosses in the lobby. What? 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 I don't know. I'm confused. Liam, Restream is not working, so as a result, the Twitch is not working. But Hemi Dimes up to P5 as for some reason there's 2 cookies. I don't know why that is. It's been a weird, glitchy day for all of us, it seems. But anyway, we've got Ollie on a lap, Michael Louis as well in the McLaren. Ollie on... yeah, Restream I think I've given up with permanently, Liam, so I think we're just going to set up a different streaming method in future so that we never have to touch... never have to touch Restream again. But anyway... Ollie on a lap along with his McLaren teammate of Michael Louis, but I believe Ollie is on an in-lap. Michael Louis actually may be on a push here. And where can Michael put that chrome liveried McLaren? Currently P12. And Michael now looking for an improvement. And Michael now up to the line. Where's Michael going to go? Does improve, gets ahead of his teammate by 300ths. And Michael Louis now up to P10 as Ali on a flyer in the Williams. And Ali in his first run of the season. Where can the driver who's reserving in the Williams, as Berlin's hopped into the Williams now, finally. I mean, it had said he was Cookie for some reason. But now it's working properly as Ali up to P13. And hopefully now... Oh, as Ali loses the car off the track through turn 1. Not quite sure what happened there as we were trying to sort out some of the issues in the background. But who else is on a lap there? We've got Cookie just starting a lap. Rio improving by a 10th here. And can Rio get any more time out of this lap as the Mercedes driver comes up to the line and into P2? And if Rio can keep that, that'll be his best qualifying performance of the season so far. Meanwhile, Berlin on a flyer in the Williams. And Berlin, where can the Williams driver go? But Cookie on a flyer there. Berlin on a flyer. Akko, maybe actually the next driver around. It is Akko. Akko not improving though, and that'll be Akko's starting as high as P4 for the day. Berlin on his first and only run up to P15. Next around it'll be the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham to start a lap. I believe it may be Cookie, who's actually on a slow in-lap, so Cookie may be pushing for another run here as Womack's now on the in, as Mallard also on an improvement on a lap, currently over a 10th to the good, as we've got a minute and a half left of the session, so still enough time for a lot of drivers to get their lap started, as Mallard using the lovely Japan livery Red Bull as he goes up to P13. Womack's just about to start a lap. Thori up to the line, does improve by 2 seconds, but still a second off, as Cookie on a flyer now will go on board with the championship leader, over a 10th to the good through sector 1. He's currently 3+ tenths behind Nasev, but this current time would put him ahead of Rio Harris, as Michael has called it a day in the pit lane. But where can Cookie go? Can he get another pole position here? As Liam retires, starts at best P12. Cookie now still on an improvement. But can he find the extra time to get ahead of Nasev as he enters the final sector now and uses a lot of that curb, maybe too much of that curb, as he's rounding the final corner now, foot to the floor, and Cookie across the line does an 11.3. And Cookie now will sit on pole position as Nasev now on a flyer. He's a 10th down on his lap, needs to find 2 tenths on this lap if he wants to improve ahead of Nasev. Rio Harris, no improvement. Hemi Dimes slightly, he's evens with his delta. Anyone else really on a flyer? Womack's now around the final corner and up to the line, up to P9. Big improvement there for Womack's. Ty Clear 2 tenths to go up to P10 as well. Big improvement there for Ty as we go back down to Nasev, and doesn't seem to be improving in this lap. Can he nail the final corner? Does he have any extra time out of the final corners? Nasev now up to the line. Does improve by half a 10th, but not enough to gain any further positions. As we do have Sluss, or that's TJ up to P8, Slusscorn into P7. We've got Hemi Dimes, who was somewhat evens on his flying lap. Let's see, can he get ahead of Akko as he crosses the line? Doesn't improve. Gordon not on an improvement. And I believe that might be it for the day. Mallard on an in-lap, and so is Rio and Cookie. So Cookie yet again starting from pole here, as Akko will start P4, a season high for the Haas driver. Slusscorn from Tier 2 has several pole positions, including last time out in Singapore yesterday. Slusscorn picking up pole in Singapore, and now up in P7 is the Haas driver. But there you have it. Cookie leads the way ahead of Nasev. Rio Harris followed by Akko, Hemi Dimes, Gordon, Slusscorn, TJ, Berlin and Womack's will be your top 10, followed by Ty Clear in P11, and then it's Stephen Beecham, Michael Louis, Ollie, Liam, Mallard, Ali and Thori. But it's going to be an interesting one to see. Cookie a 10th ahead in Nasev, followed by Rio Harris, and it'll be interesting to see the battle for the podium. It looks like Nasev and Cookie or another level above the rest of the drivers. As the drivers have been told when they're ready up now, so hopefully everyone can pick their strategies, their setups, blah blah blah, whatever they need before the start of the race, as we wait to get ready here. But get your predictions in the chat. Who do you believe is going to win? Who will win this one? Cookie starting from pole, ahead of Nasev. Nasev, the only driver to beat Cookie this season in a race. And he was actually the only driver to do it last season as well, was Nasev. So that tradition has stayed on this season, although Nasev just a reserve this season. So Cookie does have a strong lead at the front of the championship. If we look at the standings now, Cookie leads the championship by quick math 37 points, I believe, over JG, as Rio in P3 ahead of Hemi Dimes. Next it's Seth, who's missing the day, followed by Nasev. Nasev has only attended 2 races and is already up in P6 in the standings, followed by Ollie, Mallard, Ty and AMS Apple. Next it's Womax, Michael Louis, Thorsten, Liam, Stephen Beecham, Kevin Cal, Franz Herman, KKE, Hitman and Echo. But the driver should be ready up in a minute's time, so get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? Liam says, how is fuel here? I am not the man to ask. I have not done any races at Spain on this game so far. Also, it does kind of depend what you're driving. I feel like on pad, it's more difficult to save fuel than it is on wheel. I feel like wheel, like saving fuel, saving tires, all of it's a whole lot easier. As the drivers should be readying up now, and we should have 33 laps around the Spanish circuit. A mixed strategies, I would say. Could be a one-stop, could be a two-stop. We'll have to see what the drivers go for. It'll be very interesting. Could be mediums to lap 13, then we go on to hards. But we'll have to wait and see, as we will have the 5 red lights on here in Catalonia, Spain. And they're out as Nasev gets a better exit than Cookie. Already on the inside is Nasev. Cookie pushing Nasev to the inside of turn 1 as they go side by side into turn 1. Nasev and Cookie wheel banging through turn 1 and 2 as Cookie losing the rear. Nasev gets through, and everyone seems to get away relatively cleanly. No spinners at the back. Couple drivers losing a couple positions. A Sluskard up into P6 now on the inside of Hemi Dimes. Gordon dropping a couple places as Womax involved there, as well as big contact in the background. Liam's off the track. Gordon still battling with Womax here. Cars absolutely everywhere as TJ gets through on Womax. And now we've got a spinner. It's Stephen Beecham and Ali. Ali has got big damage here in the Williams. And Ali going to have to try and recover as someone goes wide there, one of the McLarens, as Berlin looks on the rear of Womax. He's trying to get back through on TJ Michael Louis, battling with Ty Clear. It's been a ferocious start to this Spanish Grand Prix. As we have a look at the tyres if we can, well, they still go side by side. Michael round the outside of Ty. Ty keeping it on the inside. Can Michael try and get the exit here Ollie gonna follow them through. As there's a big wobble from Berlin up ahead on those hard tyres. Stephen in to fix some damage, I believe. Stephen yet again having another race. Oh, and we're 3 wide into turn 1 as the VSC is out. And we've just about survived. I wonder why the VSC came out, as Rio and Hemi swapping places here. I'm not quite sure why. And they've lost a whole bunch of time. I think we've had an accidental illegal overtake there. I think Hemi was letting Rio back through again, but they've lost so much time to the cars ahead. Echo's still in that train for the lead, but Rio and Hemi now 3 seconds back. I wonder will they be able to catch onto this VSC, or has it glitched them completely as Ali gets a drive through? That's not going to help the Williams driver at all. As Rio, I do think, is able to stay with Echo, but Echo's lost out to Cookie under this restart. As Cookie, Berlin and Mallard starting on the hard tyres, everyone else on mediums. A couple of soft runners there of OMX Thori and now Ali. But intriguing to see as Ty now round the outside of Berlin. And Berlin holding it together. And Ty now round the final corner following Berlin. Can he get through with DRS? Ty, I think, has got the straight line speed to get ahead of Berlin. And the DRS has helped him do that as well. Berlin on, I believe, his second appearance this season. As Michael Louis now on the rear of Berlin. And can his hard tyres start to work for him? It seems like he's dropping a little bit back from Ty. The hard's not working for him just yet. As Michael continuing to follow Berlin. The McLaren's not with the best of starts so far in this race. If we have a look at the position changes, I do believe they'll actually have both gained a position, but not the best qualifying, you'd have to say, from both of them. As biggest gainer in the race so far is Thori, is Rio Harris on the outside of Echo, going to get through. And Hemi Dime's going to look through as well. Has a little luck. Gordon going to get through in Sluskarn. And Sluskarn, the Tier 2 driver, having a very strong race here out in Spain. Up in P7. As Hemi now on the rear of Echo. Echo washing out wide. Can Hemi find a way through on the inside? Echo really struggling to get the car rotated, but Hemi backs out. Doesn't want to go for a move on Echo. Echo seems to be struggling following that VSC restart. Just not getting the tyres fired up at all here. As Ali sets the fastest lap here, but we'll still have to serve that drive through. As Liam following along Thori and Mallard. And Cookie still inside DRS range of Nasev. Rio trying to get back inside DRS range. And Ali around again. And Ali really struggling here in this Spanish GP. As TJ now. And Ali has retired on circuit. As TJ continuing to follow Sluskarn. Sluskarn lost DRS from Gordon, so TJ now may have an easy run. However, Cookie catching but not close enough to making a move. TJ now on the outside of the Sauber driver. Can he make it round the outside? As Sluskarn goes a little deep, but TJ dances around the outside. A lovely move there. As Thori getting through on Mallard as well. And I think that was just a simple DRS overtake. Mallard going to try and fight his way back past with these hard tyres. As Michael Louis now putting pressure on Berlin. And Michael now still following along. Berlin. But the McLaren's unable to make some headway in, or on the driver who's on the hards currently. Ty Clear leading this train. Not far back from Womack. Womack still using those soft tyres. Has an early penalty. As Slusscorn around. Slusscorn, the Cyber driver reserving for this evening, unfortunately spinning around. And that has been one of the issues with Slusscorn in Tier 2. Fantastic in qualifying, but unfortunately encountering a lot of spins. Very similar to myself this season, as Echo still trying to work way through, and Hemi Dime's rear wobbles out, and it just seems Echo's race setup seems to be a little bit unstable here, as Mallard and Thory, and we're off in the gravel. Does Mallard go? And Thory battling as Berlin off the track. Berlin's left the track here. And we've had a whole lot of carnage in the space of a very few amount of corners. Slusscorn back through again. I think Thory must have gotten a legal overtake. There's TJ. TJ's gone as well. Did someone put Fairy Liquid down on the track? Everyone's spinning. Mallard's got an unfair illegal overtake, I'm pretty sure of it. I'm guessing, yeah, there's not much we can do about that, unfortunately. Just this game can be a bit silly sometimes with the yellow flags, the illegal overtakes. And unfortunately, it's another issue. As Berlin now on the rear of Thory, trying to defend on those soft tyres. But we continue on here, as Cookie still following along. We've got Ty on the inside of Womack's, finally making that move, as Womack's going to look back down the inside again, but nothing doing there, as Ty gets through on the Cyber driver. As Slusscorn going to try and work his way back through, and Mallard dives it down the inside. Oh, and he loses the rear. Oh, heavy on the brakes with Slusscorn. And Mallard thankfully surviving. He had a tussle last lap. We didn't quite see it, but that time we definitely did see the tussle. And Slusscorn struggling as Womack's around in the wall. Oh, heartbreak for so many drivers here. Struggling. The grip level in Spain just seems to be atrocious here. Everyone falling like flies through Sector 1. The grip level just seems to be non-existent for some reason. We've had so many spinners in the last number of laps. As Cookie now on the rear of Nasev, still following along here. It's lap 7. Cookie going to try and catch the V-Carb driver reserving for this evening, and Cookie is closer than ever before. Nasev going to go defensive to the inside. Cookie going to try and sail around the outside, but not close enough, and Nasev still able to defend here. Is Cookie's hard tyres starting to work for him as he washes out a bit wide there? May have picked up a warning, as Rio Haas actually doing fantastically well. He's not far behind this battle. If they go side by side at any point in the near future, Rio could find himself back in contention here for the race lead. A reminder, the top two are the only drivers to win this season, and Rio could quickly find himself potentially in the battle for victory. As Cookie on the rear, Nasev doesn't want to go for a late send. The door was open, but he wanted to wait. And will that waiting help Rio, as Rio has a bit of a rear step? Rio desperately trying to get back inside this battle, but the dirty air not helping him. As Cookie still trying to follow along Nasev. Nasev defending with all his might. But has he gone too far in the race? As Cookie now trying to use the DRS and ERS now along the outside. Cookie goes, spins as contact as Gordon leaves the session. Cookie and Nasev absolutely tussling through turn 1 and 2. That's allowing Rio back into the battle again. As I'm going to try and get Gordon back in. As in the background we can see Cookie dive down the inside of Rio, trying to commentate while trying to invite someone. It's not. Oh, there's more contact. Where the hell is... forget it. We need to watch this battle. Rio's back inside DRS range. Yellow flag out. Not quite sure who for. Berlin has gone round. We're going to try again to find... This is the issue whenever you don't appear online. I cannot find your EA because there's so many people here. And still cannot find him anywhere. But Cookie and Nasev tussling once again. We're going to try and get JG invited. Eventually, took forever to find him. As Cookie now back down the outside again and Nasev. More contact. And these two are just absolutely wheel banging through turns 1 and 2. Round the outside of 3. Can Cookie find the grip on those hard tyres? And I think he has. And Cookie defending the inside of the next corner. As Nasev trying to dance around the outside, but lovely battling between Cookie and Nasev. And finally Cookie gets the move done as Nasev going to look down the inside. Very late send. And all this battling surely has got to invite Rio Harris into this battle. We did see Michael Louis or Ty, someone swapped as Nasev all over the rear of Cookie. These two have been battling hammer and tongs. And you got to think at some point, will one of them end up spinning around as Nasev has to concede finally after desperately trying to get through. As TJ picks up his first penalty of this evening. And Rio now inside DRS range from Nasev. Nasev still has DRS from Cookie, but have the mediums now hit the cliff. And has all that battling from Nasev realistically just allowed Rio to get into this battle and potentially disturb Nasev here. This is definitely Rio's strongest race of the season. Yet to be on the podium is the Mercedes driver. But now Rio possibly even thinking about, is the win on, as Ty and Michael Louis battle ferociously. Ty now with a switchback on Michael Louis. A former Tier 2 champion versus a former Tier 2 runner-up. And the former Tier 2 runner-up of Michael Louis wins that battle. As Ty trying to find a way through. Ollie, former Tier 1 champion in Season 3. On the rear of this battle. As Ollie gonna try and find a way through here. Meanwhile, Rio appears to have lost. Gordon picking up a penalty. Trying to... And I believe that's Sluss corner around again. As Nasev was actually not able to get DRS, but he's burnt the battery to try and stay with Cookie. Rio, I think a similar scenario. Nasev all over the rear of Cookie, but not able to get an opening door here. But can Cookie now disappear down the road as Nasev trying to follow along the Red Bull driver who leads the championship here. But Nasev definitely could be the party pooper. He's the only driver within the last 2 seasons to really have that party pooper role where he takes the win away from Cookie. As Rio, for the first time this season, trying to get involved for the battle for the lead. And Nasev appears to be struggling a little bit, desperately trying to hold on to DRS range from Cookie. And this may enable Rio to get involved in the battle. As has Cookie now finally got his way out of the DRS range from Nasev and can just disappear down the road. I think he has. And Rio now inside DRS range from Nasev. This is not what Nasev wanted. He may have to now worry about his mirrors. As Rio going to look to try and cool the engine in behind that V-carb up ahead. As Echo, one of the first drivers to box on hards to the end. 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty for Echo. And that is very unfortunate for the Haas driver. I was having a strong race going for the undercut. But that 10-second penalty is going to cost him a lot of time. We've got a similar issue for Mallard as well. Mallard, although, in his case, it seemed to be a much more unfair 10-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Gordon getting ahead of Ollie. And Gordon, following that disconnect, able to reclaim some of the damage done. But now you've got both McLarens or both Aston Martins battling. A lovely sight to see here up in Tier 1. The two teams battling ferociously. Gordon, currently P2 in the championship. but a bit down the order than he would like to be. That disconnect did not help him at all. As Ty still following along Gordon. And Berlin retires from the session as TJ battling with Mallard. TJ, big loss to the rear there, a little bit of a half spin, able to catch it after maybe a little bit of contact with Mallard, and with Berlin retiring from the session, everyone who finishes the race today will score points, as Mallard now into P9. And has TJ lost DRS here? As TJ, I think he has. That's allowed Liam now to put some pressure on, as the yellow flag out may disturb Liam. Liam wanted the move, but that yellow flag really getting in the way. Unfortunately here, as Nasev continues to lead Rio Harris on. And Rio 7 seconds up the road from Hemi Dimes. A very strong outing for Rio Harris, and we could potentially see Rio jump to P2 in the championship himself if all goes his way today. As Gordon on the rear of Ty. And will Gordon be able to get ahead of his teammate? Both box ahead, both Michael Louis and Gordon. A lot of drivers piling into the pit lane on this lap for the hard tyres. Lap 14 seemed to be the time to pull the pin. Rio Harris, though, has got to have a monster exit out of the pit lane, because Nasev will be able to put the grip down on the tarmac first. That may give him an opportunity to escape from Rio Harris, and already the gap over 3/10 out of DRS here. Rio needs to absolutely burn the battery if he wants to stay with the V-Curb, which he might not be able to. Meanwhile, Akko, who did box early, has undercut Hemi Dimes and is now looking on the rear of Mallard, who, unfortunately for Mallard, will have to serve that 10-second penalty. Whether it have been just or not, it is going to be served. Mallard may lose a lot of time in his strategy that he was trying that hard medium. We've seen Cookie try the hard medium as well. Gordon doing the medium hard. He had to extend with his teammate right up ahead of him, boxing. And we'll see what Gordon can do on the overcut. He entered the may appear just behind Ty on a lap fresh or hard, so we'll see what Gordon can do. May have burnt some of the battery on his way in, and we'll keep an eye on Gordon. But Rio Harris now trying to stay with Nasev. As Gordon now on the soft tyres. Oh, I feel like that was a mistake. I don't feel like that was what Gordon wanted to do. And now Gordon forced onto a two-stop. I'm really sure that's not what Gordon wanted to do. I'm pretty sure he wanted to select hards, but the game put him on the soft tyres. So a very unfortunate race so far for Gordon. A disconnect, and now it's not really helping him in the championship standings. As Akko struggling in behind Mallard. Mallard not a lapped car. He's just out of sync with the rest of the drivers, yet to box. So doesn't need to let these cars through, but you can see struggling on those hard tyres. Akko, can he find a way through on the Red Bull? No. Not. Doesn't get the good enough exit there. Oh, and almost into the rear of Mallard. And from that camera angle, it looked like he was about to tap the rear of the Red Bull. And the Red Bull will keep extending on, so Akram's got to get a move on here. He's got to make this overtake happen on this lap, otherwise Hemi Dimes will be all over him, which he already is as we head down to turn 1 now. Surely Akko and Hemi Dimes are going to look to get through on Mallard in quick succession, and both of them do, but can Hemi even try and get through on Akko? No, not close enough to make a move on the Haas driver, but they do get past as Gordon now gonna get through on Ollie, and he's got to now try and use these soft tyres as best he can, because he's got to put onto another set of softs or another set of mediums, but he's going to use these soft tires while he has them. I'm sure he didn't want to do the two-stop, but he's been forced into that now. Whether it was a mistake from himself or the game messing him up, not quite sure. Meanwhile, Rio Harris has got back inside DRS range from Nasev, so it's a really strong outing for Rio Harris. Could be in the battle for the lead. We'll have to wait and see. But Cookie, who will be swapping on to the medium tyres from lap 20 onwards, we'll see what Cookie can do on those fresher medium tyres. As Hemi Dimes now putting pressure on Echo, but doesn't really need to. Echo does have that penalty. If we double check, it is a 10-second penalty he got for speeding in the pit lane. So Hemi will have this position regardless. But I'm sure he wants to use his fresh hard tyres to try and make some inroads here. As Liam getting through on TJ. And Sluskarn swapping with Womack here. Sluskarn up to P13. And Womack, unfortunately, his big spin has really hurt him in this race, as he lets through his teammate who's reserving for today. As Echo, or that's Liam, struggling up ahead of TJ. These are relatively fresh hards, so they shouldn't be struggling that much, but the pressure from TJ in behind Liam, you can see it on the rear tyres of that ass. As TJ big snap of the rear, the dirty air really hurting the Mercedes in behind him. We can see just as Mallard into the box, as Hemi Dimes does get ahead of Echo finally. So Hemi now has got 9 seconds up ahead of him to try and catch Rio Harris. As Rio and Nasev at this point have to really be trying to work together just to beat Cookie at this point. That's really all they've got to do if they can. As Mallard now down to P14. That as Thory and Stephen Beecham swap position. Stephen now up to P14. And Mallard unfortunately down to the very back. That 10-second time penalty that I don't even believe was his fault has cost him a lot of time here. He should have exited the box around, maybe even ahead of the Saubers potentially. And now Mallard, unfortunately for him, has got a lot of work to do to try and get caught up to the battle ahead. Meanwhile, Stephen on the mediums, possibly at the wrong time. So I think Stephen may need to box again. It's been an unfortunate season for Stephen so far. Every single race so far this season, I believe he has got involved in lap 1 drama, as Rio and Nasev just working together here, it appears. And I wonder, will they do a bit of Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris Singapore vibes, where they just tow each other along and it doesn't allow Cookie to get close enough to make a move? We'll have to wait and see whether that's the strategy they implement. As Michael Louis and Ollie swap. Ollie into the rear of his McLaren teammate. That may open the door to Ty Clear, as Womack's picking up a time penalty. As Ollie and Michael Louis swap places, and I'm not sure they were too happy, as Ty with a big shunt to the rear of Ollie as well. And Ty getting too late on the brakes there, as Cookie into the box now. We'll keep an eye on where Cookie emerges. You would expect Nasev and Rio Harris to still be ahead, but how far behind will Cookie be? And how quickly will he catch the leaders is the question. As we move up to the front now, Nasev overtakes Cookie and gets into the lead of the race. And Cookie now exiting the box in behind Rio Harris and Nasev on 6 laps fresher medium tyres. And he's only 2.7 behind. And he's got to use these mediums while he has them. He needs to get ahead as soon as possible, because if he's not ahead of them towards the end of the race, then the Hards will have some decent pace to use. Sloskarn, I believe, gets back ahead of Wall Max as these two continue to battle. As Ty still following along Ollie and Michael Louis. These drivers have been battling throughout. Gordon as well, although Gordon pulled a bit of a gap to them now, although, as mentioned, Gordon's going to have to box for another set of tyres, which I don't know if it was Gordon's intention. I don't believe so. As the yellow flag out, and it's Liam. Liam off in the gravel. And Liam, who was battling with TJ earlier, you've seen how much he was struggling. And Liam now with a 10-second penalty. And I'm not quite sure why. Oh, I don't know what's happening with Liam now. Liam appears to have some sort of issue with his rig, potentially. I'm not even quite sure what happened there. It just didn't seem like he was fully in control of what he was doing. As Rio and Nasev now have 11 laps to defend as Gordon comes in again, which it was required. He needed to. I think he's going to pick the mediums now. Meanwhile, Cookie is now in the battle for the lead here. And Rio and Nasev realistically got to work together to keep Cookie behind. But for how long will that work? Cookie is a 5-time champion here, WHF, for a reason. And he's not the easiest driver to defend from, need I say. And we'll see how Rio Aras does. He's got to try and defend as long as he can. As Cookie looks down the inside, Liam retires from the session. Not happy with how his day has gone, as Cookie going for a really opportunistic move if he could pull it off, but not able to. As the yellow flag now. Gonna make this overtake a little bit more difficult, but Cookie not close enough to making a move, so potentially just recharging the battery. As Rio still keeping in P2, and the longer this battle goes on, the more it helps the Mercedes driver, as Cookie now already down the inside here at turn 4. Going to try and outbrake the Mercedes driver, and Cookie getting through now up in a P2. And Rio unable to defend. And Liam says he got rear wing damage, and it really did look like that. It looked like he just... whenever you have rear wing damage, the rear is just so unstable. Not a lot you can do unless you're Jarno Opmeer, really. It's not really feasible. But now Cookie on the rear of Nasev, and this may be a slam dunk move. I don't know how much Nasev is going to be able to defend here on the older tyres. As Rio may want to get involved here as well, but Cookie, it looks like he will resume the lead of the race if he can maximise his exit here out of the final corner. And now with DRS here, surely he's going to get ahead. As Nasev going to try and weave this way and not to defend, but Cookie now round the outside. Can he get through round the outside? Nasev keeps a wheel in. Big contact. Cookie, big contact there. And Nasev keeps the lead in suspicious circumstances there. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that one. But Cookie forced to stay behind for another lap here. Nasev at no point is Cookie absolutely dive bombs him. Dive bombs him at the corner where we've seen seen Verstappen overtake Russell in very clean fashion. We've seen it again. Cookie dive bombing Nasev, and what an overtake it was from Cookie. As Nasev losing the rear now. And can Nasev find a way back through on Cookie here? These two coming to blows again. I don't think I've ever seen a clean battle between these two. There's always wheel banging throughout, and we've seen more of it there as Cookie absolutely dive bombed up the inside of Nasev now. As Nasev going to try and get back through again on Cookie. I'm sure of it. Cookie going to defend as best he can here. But will Nasev go for a late dive bomb into turn 1 as Cookie... Oh, he tried to set him! Oh, a big contact! Nasev and Cookie come together as Cookie stays ahead. Big spin for Nasev. Rio Harris now takes P2 in the race. But the steward's definitely going to have a look at this one after the race. Absolute carnage yet again between Cookie and Nasev. And Rio Harris now, if he can try and get onto in DRS range from Cookie, potentially could be looking for the lead here. But Rio dropping back here, just doesn't have the pace of Cookie. But will Cookie pick up a pain from the contact with Nasev there? Seems like Nasev still has DRS off Rio Harris. Meanwhile, Cookie will start to build a gap now on those medium tyres, as Ash in the chat puts the googly eyes, saying that was a bit interesting between Cookie and Nasev. I'll have to see what the stewards say. Meanwhile, the McLarens working together here. Mallard getting through on the inside of Stephen Beecham. Mallard has recovered a P12 despite his probably unjust 10-second time penalty. Now he is Sluskar up the road next. And could still get P11 here, could Mallard, as Rio Harris has dropped back from Cookie. And it seems to be Nasev and Rio will battle until the end of the race for P2 as the yellow flag is out. Is it Sluskar again? No, it's Womack who's down at the back. He's not had the ideal outing, has damage on the front left end plate, and Womack, unfortunately, the Cyber driver, just has not really come to grips at all with the track, as Womack has retired on track, as Ty on the rear of Ollie and Michael. You'd think the McLarens work together to make sure that they stay ahead of the you'd think the McLarens work together to stay ahead of the Aston Martin driver, as they're currently doing, but this is the only real fight in the race. It's Rio Harris and Nasev and Michael Louis, Ollie and Ty battling over P6. It's the battle for P2 and the battle for P6 as we go on. And I wonder, will at any point Ollie try and, as Nasev actually has got ahead of Rio Harris, that happened a lot quicker than I thought it was going to, and Rio now still on for his first podium of the season, but he wants P2. You can see P2 is potentially on the cards here, as Ty continues to follow Ollie and Michael Louis. As the yellow flag is out, and it's Stephen Beecham. Stephen's gone on to the soft tyres. I don't think his mediums were going to the end now, and Stephen unfortunately down to P14. It's been another nightmare race again for Stephen, and this season for Stephen Beecham has just really not been ideal at all. Hopefully when we come back next week for round 6, Stephen can have a better outing when Tier 1 heads to, if I find it here, it'll be Austria, one of my favourite tracks, one of the funnest tracks for racing, and hopefully Stephen can have a better outing in Austria next time out. Jealous I'll not be racing Austria this season, but oh well. Meanwhile, it's Ollie following along Michael Louis. As Rio continues to follow along Nasev with the DRS here, as Hemidame seems to have P4 wrapped up. Big gaps in front and big gaps behind. But can Rio get back ahead for P2? We've got around 5 laps to go, and Rio having his strongest race of the season so far. And Rio now looking on the rear of Nasev. And on the inside, the Mercedes driver is going to take P2. A bit more of a camera battle than we've seen with the Red Bull and Mercedes. Or the Red Bull and the V-Carb. Rio gets through and there's less wheel banging between the two. As Ollie now still trying to search for a way past. The car ahead is Gordon now. DRS on the rear of TJ. Can Gordon finally get ahead? As can we look at the penalties here? It's only Akko with the 10-second penalty as Gordon does get through on TJ. Both of those drivers with 3-second time penalties. They've got a big gap behind, so these two just battling for position. And Gordon could still catch Ty as Ty's had a big error. Ty was inside DRS range from Ollie and Michael, but has had a big error that's allowed Gordon now to close the gap a lot here. Maybe Gordon could find his way up into P8 and maybe build a gap to alleviate that penalty threshold that he has, as Ollie still trying to stay with Michael Louis as Nasev boxes. Not quite sure why. He's given up a podium for doing so. Maybe he wants the fastest lap. But anyway. And Akko boxes as well. Right. Akko boxing is genuinely straight up special. Like, what? He has a 10-second penalty and that's going to cost him a heap of time. And he's going to drop down. I mean, P4 was on for Akko. I don't know how big the gap would have been behind him, but now he's completely lost it. So I don't know what the idea was. I mean, Nasev give away one position. Akko's given away, I don't even know how many positions. I really don't understand the thinking at all. It was not a smart move from Akko at all. But hey ho. I'm not the one driving. As Rio Harris now has been essentially handed P2, Hemi Dimes handed P3, and Cookie appears to be handed P1, although he wasn't really handed it. Him and Nasev battle ferociously before coming together and resulting in a spin there. But I really don't know what Akko was thinking. As Gordon now all over the rear of his teammate. And if he can get ahead here on this lap. As yellow flag out. And Cookie's gone off. Huh? What? Cookie gone off and has given Rio Harris the lead. What? A very uncharacteristic mistake there from the Red Bull driver of Cookie, the 5-time WHF champion, making a bit of a horrendous mistake here that's allowed Rio Harris back into the battle. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but either way, Cookie now gonna have to try and get back ahead of Rio Harris. Rio could be on for his first victory in WHF, and I don't even think he was expecting to be in this position at all. But Rio now trying to defend, and he's only got one more lap to defend from Cookie. Cookie not close enough to make a move on this lap, as Rio could potentially have a win on the cards. Cookie, I'm not quite sure what he was doing. But this has added a completely new element to this race. Cookie, who had P1 in the bag. I know I don't say the commentator's curse exists, but maybe it does. I did say he had it in the bag, and now Cookie's going to try everything he can to get ahead of Rio Harris. Rio going to manage the battery as best he can here to try and burn it down the main straight. Will Cookie go for a late sand here? I think he will. Rio, oh, he's kind of let him through, and Cookie gets straight through as there's a yellow flag out. I think Ollie involved is dropped behind Gordon now. As Rio, did he play it? Did he give Cookie too much of an edge there? Is Cookie losing the rear now? Can Rio? Oh, he's had a big lift. Big lift through the penultimate corner. Rio, come on, plant the throttle. He's got a horrible exit. Hopefully he has the battery. I'm not sure if he does. He's going to give it everything down into turn one. As Rio now gonna switch to the inside. Can Rio outbreak Cookie down into turn 1? Side by side they go, and Cookie gonna keep it ahead. Oh, and Rio, if he had defended better through the middle sector, it could have been on the cards, but Cookie back into the lead of the race. And I think Cookie was just adding drama for the sake of it, as Rio just missed the opportunity there. Didn't defend through the middle sector and wasn't able to get back ahead through the final corner as TJ gets through on tie clear as these two battle. And TJ now through as Nasev picks up a 3-second time penalty trying to catch Hemi Dimes here. But as we head on board with the leader, it wasn't the easiest race for Cookie. It looked like he had it all wrapped up, but for whatever reason he threw it all away. But Rio Harris could not take advantage, although Rio will get his first podium of the season and may move up to P2 in the championship as a result. But again, Cookie will win here in Spain ahead of Rio Harris in P2. Rio fought with all he had but could not find a way through. Meanwhile, Hemi Dimes will finish P3 ahead of Nasev, who threw away a P2 potential on the cards. Meanwhile, Michael Loy going to finish in P5 ahead of Gordon, who may drop behind Ollie for a brilliant result from the McLarens. They had a horrible qualifying but have made loads of gains throughout the race, and Michael now will finish P5 ahead of Gordon. Next it's Ollie who'll get promoted to P6, who finish ahead of both Aston Martins as TJ crosses the line in P9. Echo in P10, who threw away a great result as well. He could have been on for a P4 or P5 there as well, but decided to box lid on for who knows what reasons. Luscard in P11, lovely result for him. Mallard, that 10-second time penalty costing him massively here as he'll finish in P12. As Thory will cross the line in P13 ahead of Stephen Beecham. But Cookie wins again here. Cookie wins again here in Spain, extending his championship lead as Rio Harris picks up his first podium this season as Hemi Dimes into P3, another Ferrari podium for the season, as Nasev finishing P4 with a late box that we weren't really expecting, along with Echo, who has also joined the interviews. Echo, we're going to start with you. Echo, why did you box at the end there?
Afraid of getting a puncture. I generally just thought those tyres wouldn't have lasted because in the last couple of laps they were on like 80% and I was like, these aren't going to last. So I just boxed. I wasn't going to risk DNFing and getting a puncture.
I didn't realise they were that close to puncture range. I don't even think you did that long in those hard tyres.
I know, I was struggling the whole race. I felt like I was just ice skating the whole race. I had lots of like rear end skids. Just, it felt horrible to race them.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate because I thought you were on for a very good result. Maybe a P4, P5 there, and I guess the tyre wear just not helpful. I forget you're actually on pad as well. That's a big proponent as to why the tyre wear is so bad. But unfortunate, but hopefully Echo, next time when we head Austria, we can see a top 5 finish, because you've been there or thereabouts the last couple of races, just haven't really seen it
yeah,
as of yet. But still a decent race, Echo. Unfortunately, the tyre wear was your demise, but still, I'm sure you'll take it.
thank you.
And we'll move on to Hemi Dimes. Hemi, a rather quiet race for yourself in P3. How did that feel for you, Hemi?
Well, most of the time it was just Rio screaming something's happening or something's going on. I just found it really easy once I got past Hecko to just try and pull that gap. I saw you had much lower wings, and I just took advantage of that, especially in the dirty air. Saw them struggling in dirty air, but I mean, I don't mind a quiet race. I mean, Australia was pretty much similar, but yeah, it was an alright race.
Well, did you expect to end up on the podium, or did you expect Nasev just to randomly box?
No, but Nasev was talking about he had like he'd been on like 70% wear for like 3 laps or something like that. I was pretty similar, but I started saving towards the end, so I wasn't expecting it, but I'm appreciative of the charity of getting another podium.
Well, another podium, and I think you will actually stay in P4 in the championship. We've actually got the standings up because the app now works for whatever reason. Even though we didn't change anything about it, the app somehow works. But anyway, we'll move on to Rio Harris. First podium of the season, you got P2, but none of us were expecting it. I literally said in the commentary booth, well, Cookie's nailed on for P1, Rio's nailed on for P2, Himi's nailed on for P3. I thought we were all content with that ending, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Cookie loses the car through Sector 1, and the win was potentially on Rio. What were you thinking whenever you seen it?
Well, I think Adam already said it. I think I screamed down my mic, "Oh my god, Cookie's gone off!" Instantly, I feel my heart rate increase like quite a lot. Like instantly, just beating. But I mean, I was happy with the podium, about bloody time as well. But I mean, you said the win was on. It's still on. It depends what the steward said with the contact with the 7 Cookie. I've made them win still on. But either way, I'm still happy with the podium, and I think I'm second in the championship now.
Yep.
So,
you're second by 2 points ahead of JG and 5 points ahead of Emmy Dames.
how far am I behind Cookie? What, 40 points?
50.
Jesus Christ almighty.
And speaking of the man leading by 50 points, Cookie, it's another win, but definitely a more complicated win than we would have expected. How'd that race go for you?
Jesus. It was good. I think the strategy was probably the right call, because probably couldn't have broken DRS with mediums in the first stint. And it was some fun battling. I think I didn't anticipate him going to my right side because it was so late. So I was like, oh shit. I was tempted to slow up. I still have no idea who's really at fault. I mean, maybe it's me, but it was fun. And then I kind of lost focus like that last stint, and I kind of just spun it. And I think I was at 70-something% wear at that point, so I was just kind of praying that or 60-something, I don't remember. And I was just praying that I had enough grip to stay in front of Rio and pass him again, and I did. But if it's P1 or P2, I'm not that upset about it.
Well, that was definitely very fun to watch. But congrats on the win. If you do keep the win, we'll have to see what the stewards say after. I'm not quite sure who was at fault, to be honest. There was not really a great camera angle from...
I love your reaction, Arrow, to the Cookie going off.
I was stunned.
I think my rejoin on Rio is probably a bit more dangerous than the...
Ghosting was available, it was fine.
Well, Rio, if you want to report him, then you get your first win in WHF, so go for it.
Dangerous rejoin. It wouldn't be a pen, nothing happened. I didn't lose time, I don't think.
But
the nature of the rejoin was so dangerous. There you go. There's your reason.
It was fun though. Just gotta keep getting these.
I shouldn't have gone for the inside. I don't know why I went inside.
But
might be different, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't that happy with the setup this week. I feel like it kind of cucked me in the race, but it was fun. They had.
I'll tell you who wasn't happy with you, Nasev.
Oh yeah.
And now that we have Nasev, we did see you box late. Was that due to tire wear, and then also the battle with Cookie? What are your thoughts on that as well?
The contact fucked my tires up, so yeah, got instantly like 5 or 6% off just that half spin there. So I was forced to box because either I risk it for trying to stay out on 80+% and get a puncture, or I just box for softs and see what happens.
But we did see at the end there. I did say that all the podium seemed to be nailed on, but towards the end there, if you hadn't have picked up that 3-second time penalty, you only finished around a 10th behind Hemi Dime. So did you think the podium was still on despite you having to box that late?
Yeah, and no. I had 2 warnings from just going wide understeer. So I thought I'd just risk it and go full push until the end, and yeah, finish only 1/10 or so behind. But we've only reserves, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah.
Well, even as a reserve, you move up now to P5 in the championship, so you're doing a whole lot better than the majority of the field, despite you only doing 3 races as of now. But I believe that's everyone interviewed here this evening. It's been a fun race to commentate. We'll have to see what the stewards say after that one. Will any positions change? We'll have to wait and see. But thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this, has been WHFR. I would raid people, but I think there's... let's see who we can find who's live. We will raid... the American F1 fan. Give the American F1 fan a follow on your way over. But anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week for Austria,
Bombo Clart.
which is always a fun race to commentate. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
Harry, you really don't like us, do you? With this calendar.
Bye, Mattia.